If you were a woman listening to this podcast now and you're going, yeah, I'm tempted, I've run 100 miles, I think I'm good enough, what advice would you give them?
Well, they just mustn't be scared, really. If you finish 100-mile races, I think you're more than competent to finish a 200-mile race. I mean, yes, it's tough. Your feet hurt, you do get sleep deprived, but I think it's very, very doable. They just mustn't be scared.
The MacMac 200 miler, it's one of the toughest trail races in Africa. 200 miles, 15,000 meters of vertical gain, and a test of physical and mental resilience like no other. I'm Fred Richardson, head coach at Mindful Runner, and in this series we go inside the minds of those who take it on, from the first timers to the race winners and everyone in between. Today we are talking to Nicky Boyans, who is the only woman to have successfully finished the race. Not only finished it, she's placed within the top 3 overall every time. Nikki, welcome to the show. So glad to have you here.
No, awesome. Thanks for having me.
You have raced this race every year. How has your approach changed, if it has at all, since the first one?
It actually hasn't changed too much. I kind of know what's coming. Route-wise, I know what's coming. I know what it's like to race, multiple nights. The only thing that's always pretty much an unknown every year is what the weather is going to do to us and how that's going to affect our racing.
You've run the course in vastly different conditions. I mean, it's been hot, it's been cold, it's been wet. Which was your toughest year, do you think?
I think it was probably that second year when we had those freaking torrential downpours for like 10 hours, that massive storm. And I mean, the course was literally just a mud fest after that. I mean, we found it very difficult to run, never mind walk. And it was just slosh the whole way. I mean, obviously added a lot of entertainment as we were all slipping and sliding all over the show. But it definitely slowed us down a lot. And that, I think, was the year I actually had my slowest time.
I remember MacMac Hut looking like an absolute battlefield with 100 milers all over the place at 3 o'clock in the morning or something. It was crazy, as everyone took shelter from that big storm.
All of us fighting for the one little fireplace.
That's right. Why do you keep coming back?
I don't know. Somehow MacMac has stolen my heart, like the Manga mountain bike has stolen my heart for mountain biking. I think the race as a whole was just a really, really good race. There's always a good vibe. And also it's a very tough, challenging race. And I'm attracted to everything that's hard, tough and challenging. Yeah, I mean, we unfortunately, we don't have a lot of long races on our calendar, 200-mile plus races. I definitely try to do it every year, as it is one of the few that we get the opportunity to do each year.
You definitely are somebody who likes the long stuff. 100 miles is just not enough for you. You need 200 miles and more than that, both on foot and on a bike. What does your year look like typically in terms of racing? Because you always seem to be out there racing something.
I literally, I have my highlight races, my priority races, the ones that I really want to try do each year. But also the calendar's growing so much every year. There's a whole lot of new races coming onto the calendar every year. So I also definitely want to try do some of the newer ones. I'm sadly still unemployed. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. So it gives me... Well, for now, it gives me the opportunity to do as much as possible when I can. I take every opportunity that I get, and I just try to do as many of them as I can.
When it comes to mindset, you do all of these ultra things, and you and I met at an adventure race, I think, 20 years ago. So you've been going at this for a long time. What mental strategies do you use in a big, long race like that?
Well, I think I've got a world of experience when it comes to these multi-day races. We all suffer at some point. It's definitely not a bed of roses, all 320 kilometers. But the sun will always come up again. No matter how dark and gloomy the nights are, with the sleep monsters all over the show. As soon as the sun comes up, it gets a little bit warmer. The sleep monsters disappear a bit. I just know that if you go through a rough patch, it will pass and things will definitely get better. Especially, I think most of the bad patches happen generally during the night when it's really cold and you're more sleepy. So I just know that, the sun will come up again and things will definitely get better.
At night time when you're feeling bad, it's probably mostly the dark that's influencing you. So if you can just get to sunlight, it's going to get better.
No, definitely.
Yeah. How do you pace yourself through these races? You never fly out at a super quick rate and you're never super slow at the end. How do you manage your pacing?
I think I've kind of just figured it out over the years. I'm definitely not a fast starter. I always like to finish strong. My husband sometimes complains to me and moans at me and says, I never raced hard enough because I always look way too fresh when I cross the finish line. But yeah. I think I've just learned how to pace myself in the beginning, and I don't like to go too hard in the beginning. I like to run my own pace, not be influenced by others, and then just make sure I finish strong.
You're often in a group with other people. Do you find that are you pacing them? Are they pacing you? Or are you just sharing the trail? Because for me personally, I don't like being in groups because it then messes with my own pacing.
Sometimes it has advantages and sometimes it's disadvantages, but I generally have a rule that anybody can race with me, but I'm not racing with you. So I'm like racing my own pace. So if they want to tag along with me, they're more than welcome to tag along. But if they want to stop and pee and sleep and eat, no, I'm not stopping with them. I'm doing what I've planned to do and what I'm feeling good to do. Because, everybody sleeps at different times. Everyone goes through bad patches at different times. So I just race my own race. And if I've got company, great. If I'm on my own, even better.
Yeah, I'm of the even better school, but I hear you. So race your own race. Don't get influenced by the guys around you. Yep. Okay. Sleep management. Now, you've had lots of multi-day experiences, not just in foot races, it's adventure racing, multi-day mountain bike racing. Have you got a strategy that you know works for you?
Well, I've kind of picked up over the years that, trying to sleep in a race village, I mean, it's very tempting. It's nice and warm. It's cozy. You got a bed, a mattress, a stretcher, but they're generally very, very noisy. So I've actually realized that I actually struggle to sleep in race villages. So generally, I just go until I can't stay awake anymore. And some of my best sleeps in races are the power naps in the bushes. Because then you're really, you're so tired, you literally switch off. Where I find in the race villages and stuff, there's just, no matter how hard you try to sleep, no matter which dark corner you try to crawl into, it's just always too noisy. And I sometimes find that I can't force myself to sleep. Like your body is not ready to sleep when you want to sleep, when you think you should have a sleep. So I pretty much will just go until I can't anymore, and then power naps are the winner.
Good to know. Are you racing against the other racers? Are you looking to beat the other people?
Very competitive person. I do like to win. I do like to get podiums. But when you're the only lady on the start line, it becomes a little bit more difficult to try to be super competitive when you're not actually racing anybody. I generally, have a rule that I race women and Benny. I don't generally race guys. I don't have an ego problem. I'm not there to try to see how many men I can beat across the finish line. For me, it's personal satisfaction. So first prize for me is always to finish the race. And then anything better is a bonus. So yeah, with MacMac it's difficult because there's never actually been another lady on the start line. So every year my goal is to try to beat my PB, but I haven't actually managed to do that in the last 3 years. So I'll keep trying.
Do you think that the course has got more difficult with the Mount Sheba loop now included compared to the first time? Because didn't you set that record the first time you ran it?
Yeah, the first year, yeah. I wouldn't say it's become exceptionally more difficult. I think we were maybe lucky the first year with weather conditions as well. We didn't have torrential downpours, everything. The last 2 years, it's moved more into winter, which has made it a little more colder. So you tend to want to hide in the water points and aid stations a little bit longer, hug the fire for just 5 minutes more.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is possibly a little bit more harder, but I don't think there's any reason why, the records can't be broken.
Do you feel pressure year on year, being the only woman on that start line? Do you have a responsibility to womanhood in general to make sure that you finish?
To show that it's possible for women to, that we can, we are strong enough to finish 200 milers. Why there are so few women attempting the 200 milers, I really don't know. I don't believe I'm the best 200 mile runner in South Africa. I really don't. I just wish some of the other ladies, there's plenty stronger women out there that I wish would just, come join me on the start line and, just see that it is possible to do.
Yeah. When you look internationally, of course, it's like you're probably the right it's the right numbers because it's 25% at 200 mile distance is about 25, maybe 30% of the field. is women's. You know, being the only one there in a starting line of 10, it's not that far out, I guess. Like, if we had another 2 women, we'd be over the averages. But I hear you. I think it would be so good to see more women on that start line. What advice would you give to the other woman that should be starting? I mean, if you were a woman listening to this podcast now and you're going, yeah, I'm tempted, I've run 100 miles, I think I'm good enough, what advice would you give them?
Well, they just mustn't be scared, really. If you've finished 100-mile races, I think you're more than competent to finish a 200-mile race. I mean, yes, it's tough. You know, your feet hurt, you do get sleep deprived, but I think it's very, very doable. They just mustn't be scared. They must just, get on that start line and try. I mean, if you look back at the very first Manga Trail back in 2017, there was a 400k run, which is the longest run then in South Africa, I think, ever, before the 200 mile starters. And we had 10 women on the start line out of 23 starters. That was huge. So, I believe we've got competent women. They just mustn't be scared. They must just toughen up and get on the start line.
Yes, I love that. We have lots of really tough women at that distance as well, at the 100-mile distance and even at the 100k distance. I think there's plenty who could step up, and some of those who are currently sitting on the couch who probably looking at this going, well, it's only Nikki who ever runs these things and Nikki who ever wins. So maybe you're the only person who can do them.
No, but Nikki always wins and Nikki always loses because Nikki's always the only one there. So Nikki would really love some competition.
Is there anything different this year in your mindset, in your preparation for the race? Do you feel like you're maybe getting, I don't know, I was going to say casual about it, but I think that's the wrong phrase. But are you fairly settled? You're not really worried about whether you can finish this anymore. Does that change how you approach your training?
Going into MacMac this year, I'm actually probably going in the most well-rested than some of the previous years because I wouldn't have done some crazy ultra like the weekend before. So I'm definitely feeling fitter and stronger, and that I'll definitely be more rested, getting onto the start line. No, there's never a guarantee you're going to finish a 200-mile race, no matter how many you've done. I know I'm more than well prepared. I know I can do it, but anything can go wrong in a 200-mile race. Absolutely anything. So there's no guarantees. But I'm definitely, I'm feeling confident. I know I've done it before, and I know I can do it. So I'm just hoping for a good run.
If this was your last MacMac 200, what's the legacy you want to leave behind? What do you want people to remember about you racing?
That I absolutely enjoy MacMac. It's a very special race. There's always a very vibey race. There's always a good jaw. The water points they're fantastic. All the helpers are marshals. Stricky and Elof are always, laugh a minute, very happy-go-lucky, cheering us on. And I always try to smile a lot. Maybe when there's no people or cameras, I'm maybe not always smiling. But I just, running 200 miles, you must really enjoy it. It's a privilege to be out there, to be able to run 200 miles. And if you do it, you must just enjoy being out there, enjoy having the privilege to be out there. And I want, people always say, Nikki's always smiling. And I am always smiling because no matter how tough it gets going, I always think, how awesome it is just to be out there doing what I love.
What does your typical training week look like? Because I see you on Strava, there's lots of Zwift, there's the seemingly occasional casual run. What does your training typically look like? And are you putting everything on Strava is the other question.
So I actually, end of last year, my Strava was always private. So I think somewhere around the end of last year, I actually opened it up because people actually didn't believe my training. I don't do a lot of big miles during the week. I love racing. Everybody knows I love racing, and Nikki's always racing. But I believe racing's the best form of training for me. You get to run in different terrains. You push yourself harder than a normal training run. There's people around you, and I really enjoy it. And I think it's really good training. During the week, if you are looking at my Strava, you'll see like almost every day I'm running with my dogs. And they're smelling the roses. It's like a 45-minute 5K with them. But that's my first priority, is to make sure my dogs get their run every day. I do enjoy my Tuesday afternoon Volvo runs. And then I just generally, I do I don't follow any training plan. I love swifting. I love cycling. I believe in the cross training, to prevent injuries. If you're just running, I personally believe I will get a lot of injuries. So I do enjoy the cross training side of things. Depending on what race I have coming up, I will maybe try, like especially on the weekends, make sure I do something maybe with a lot of elevation, a big foot race. You know, if it's Manga mountain bike coming up, then I'll try obviously get some long rides in. But I generally just go with what I want to do.
Essentially, that's the Courtney Waters approach as well, right? It's just you're playing it on feel, and you do a lot of racing, as you say. And you're quick at short distances as well, right? I mean, when I say short distance, I mean short distance for an ultra runner. So half marathon, you're still pretty quick at a half marathon distance as well. Your running then is mostly off-road. Do you do any road running at all in your training?
With my dogs, we kind of just run through the neighborhood, so that's kind of on the road. I do enjoy running a fast 10K road race. You know, it just gives you that ability to run hard without tipping over rocks and tree stumps and everything else. You know, it just gives you a chance to really just go guns blazing for 10Ks without, you know, falling over things. I do enjoy the road running. Obviously, trail running takes preference. But there's nothing like a good old road race just to keep you honest and get your speed up again.
So the indoor cycling thing is something that I've noticed, because it's something I'm incorporating into my own training and something I'm incorporating into training for a lot of my ultra runners, specifically because, as you said earlier, you get a lot less stress on the bones and the tendons, and you're still getting good aerobic conditioning in. How much of an influence do you think your cycling and your aerobic conditioning on cycling, how much of that comes into your running?
I believe running helps for cycling, but cycling doesn't help that much for your running. But that's just what I think works better for me. The cycling, you know, it keeps my base fitness going. But I think running definitely makes you more stronger for cycling rather than cycling making you more stronger for running. But I mean, that's my personal belief. I mean, obviously, different things work for different people.
Any last message for all those of us, the 10, 15 of us starting on that start line? What's the final message from Nikki before we get to the race?
Guys must just enjoy it and have a jaw. Like I say, it's a privilege to be able to do it, and you must just enjoy every moment out there.
And don't get your butt kicked again by Nikki. This has been a part of our MacMac interview series. For more stories, training strategies, and resources to prepare for your own ultra trail journey, head to mindfulrunner.co.